And it's your testimony that you cannot identify your son as being involved in any gangs. Is that right?
That is right.
That's
Sean.
And who else is in the photograph that you know?
I know the other two people in the photograph.
Right.
If you're taking a picture with somebody that's throwing up gang signs, you will be associated with being in a gang. FYI.
Who are they, please?
I'm not going to give you their names.
Okay. You're refusing to give the names?
Well, I don't think it's appropriate.
Oh, okay. Well, you're under oath to tell the truth. So
I am, and I truly believe it's not appropriate.
Okay, well, I guess you're the judge now. Okay, go ahead. What's the next question?
They're not.
Hey, it's a Sister Rose. So that was Sean Gathrights' mother testifying. She testified yesterday for the defense. I'm not sure why they even brought her on, because it didn't really help her case at all, because she was just lying and perjuring herself on that stand while under oath, ma'am. Ridiculous. Because when all this is said and done, when everybody is sentenced and the verdict is handed down and everybody's sentenced, you could go to jail because you have perjured yourself like crazy. That's ridiculous. And it's sad, as a Marine vet, ex-Marine veteran, you have an 18-year-old son that's going to spend the rest of his life in jail. That's very sad. And this is all with bad parenting. And then she wanted to take control over in the courtroom, not answering questions, over talking people. Because what I've seen with people that have not done a good job, that have failed as parents, in a sense, that have failed as parents and do not want to take accountability. Because many of us have failed as parents, but then, you know what? I did you wrong. I didn't raise you the way I was supposed to do, but I'm going to hold you accountable. Then people hold their children accountable. But till the end, she is still enabling her son. She's enabling her son. And then saying that she doesn't know Alicia, but then it's still lying for Alicia. To say she didn't know her, she don't know her at all. She doesn't recall her ever coming to the house, but maybe she came to our barbecue. Which one is it? Do you know her or do you not know her? That's what they ask you, because you're just lying on the stand and trying to take control in the courtroom, because most of the time these people don't have, in my opinion, they don't have control in their own home. You have an 18-year-old that's doing all this, and so-called you didn't know, or you probably didn't have any control over him. Now he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison because he wasn't raised. People say, look who raised him. Some of these kids were not even raised. They just was left. They just was left to grow up by themselves. This is ridiculous. And you just lying. And when the prosecution, especially when the prosecution asks you certain stuff, they already know the answer. They just want to see if you're going to be honest. And in a lot of things, she was not honest. And then when they slap her with the truth, she was like, maybe if that's what you say, because if you don't have anything to hide, you don't know nothing was going on, you were blindsided, you thought you had a good little boy, you didn't know he was in a gang, why are you having all this animosity and all this smoke for the prosecution? The prosecution just doing their job. That's all they're doing. She have all this smoke because when the defense was asking her questions, she had no problem. But she was giving all this attitude, even to the judge, to the prosecution, and stuff like that. If you don't have nothing to hide, there's no need. You just tell your testimony. Because all that is just opening up a door so that, so that's how she act. Maybe we could get her to say even more. Let's call her, when it's your son's trial, let's call her as a witness. Let's subpoena her. Come on. People just don't think. But all this is bad parenting. You have an 18-year-old that hasn't even lived life. Well, life according to the right way. Let's say that. And he's going to spend the rest of his life in jail. He was arrested when he was 18. That's not something I would be proud of. That's not something I would be on the stand trying to lie. That's not going to help him. That's not going to keeping him accountable, holding him accountable. That's the only thing that's going to help him at this point. And she probably thinking this is the way. Yes, she's failed him because she shouldn't have an 18-year-old son going to jail but maybe let me help him in this way because I failed him. That's not helping him. That's not helping him at all. Keep him accountable. Hold him accountable for what he did, for what he was a part of. So many evidence, too much evidence. Oh, he's not in the gang, but he was known gang members, throwing up gang signs, holding all kind of. Come on. She herself said she is very proficient in firearms through her training to the Marines. And her son, the prosecution called him the weapons man. And even with the certain stuff that the son was involved in, talk about, and especially with the brass catcher. And then she's like, oh, she never taught him that. She only took him to the gun range one time, just lying on the stand. I heard, and not even lying about where he lived. Yes, she said he lived in California with his dad. And then when they asked about him living in Mississippi with his grandmother, his dad's mother, oh, she don't know nothing about that. Just lying about simple stuff that don't need to be lied about. And maybe if he stayed with his dad in California, would his life been this way? This is bad parenting 101. You failed your son, and then you on they probably have recordings on you, because if they repeat and say, they ask you certain questions about were you doing this on the phone with your son, they most likely have recordings of you, because I'm sure they record those jail calls. And even up to the end, still doing the most. That's not really going to help your son. So unfortunate. Anyway, that's all I had to say. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in another video. Bye.